Are you serious? Are you serious? What? Even Thomas Jefferson was told about the giants? What? Yes, it actually is true. It really did happen. Guys, welcome to the Coming Apocalypse. I'm Pastor Paul Begley. This is the YouTube version of the Coming Apocalypse. And we've been talking a lot about this upcoming webinar, aliens and fallen angels, but you also got to keep in mind that besides these things that we see on disclosure we see going on, there's something that absolutely has not been disclosed and has been hidden. And that is the absolute 1,000% proof that there were giants in the land, Nephilim, before and after the flood. Let me just put a shout out right now for noblegoldinvestment.com. That's www.noblegoldinvestment.com. Wow! How about this, guys? Noble Gold, one of the sponsors of our show, Christian company, family owned, has just been picked by Consumer Affairs, the rating agency, as the overall #1 gold IRA company in America. So look at this. You should talk to their team today. Pick up the phone and call them at 877-646-5347. That's 877-646-5347. Here's why. If you're thinking about precious metals, or if you're thinking about rolling over that 401k you have that's dying in the stock market, if your retirement funds are eroding, you may want to get a hold of noblegoldinvestments.com. And if you qualify for an IRA or 401k rollover, they will give you 1/10 of an ounce pure gold coin, the American Eagle gold proof coin, for every qualifying IRA individual out there. Guys, seriously, noblegoldinvestment.com. That's noblegoldinvestment.com. Let them take care of your financial needs. Wow. Okay, so yeah, here's what's taking place here. It's quite crazy, to be quite honest with you. But I'm being as transparent as possible here. Okay, I'm being very transparent. You see that? Much something I think the Biden administration could probably learn how to do. Be very transparent. I know that was pretty lame. I'm really sorry about that. But it's true, guys. We see all kinds of stuff taking place. But did you realize that they've been hiding the giants, but that Thomas Jefferson, Thomas Jefferson was actually given information about giant bones that were found way back in the 1700s. And I found this to be crazy, actually, at one point, but then I saw all the different press clippings that have been withheld from the public about the giants, about all of them, okay? But back in 1784, Thomas Jefferson was contacted about giants that they found, the bones of giants that they wanted him to know about it, and he was contacted about this, and so he was made aware of it. Matter of fact, many people in the government has been made aware of this over the last, especially in the 1800s and early 1900s, when a lot of these were found, and the Smithsonian Institute swooped in and would get the bones and take them back and say, we're going to study these, and then bury them, and you never heard from them again. So we've got some information on this. Let me share this with you. I found this fascinating. But old newspaper clippings about giant bones and skeletons are being found in the United States, that were found in the United States, Mexico, and elsewhere back in the late 1800s and early 1900s. Look, I've been interested in giants, and I'm sure a lot of you have, but I've been also interested in the alleged cover-up by the Smithsonian Institute. Finally, after doing some digging through some old newspaper articles and archives, we have found some very interesting stuff. of several which were mentioned items being sent to the Smithsonian Institute for further study that we've never heard from again. Apparently, it seems like there are still many people that believe that Snoops says it doesn't exist. These are all fakes. These are all fraudulent. But they can't be. You've got all these newspaper articles that are in the archives of libraries across America where articles are written and even pictures are taken of the skeletal remains of giants. And specifically, these articles mention the Smithsonian Institute, which have been accused of destroying, covering up evidence of giant humanoid remains, or Nephilim. There was a letter from Ezra Stiles to Thomas Jefferson discussing giant humanoid bones and teeth that were found in June of 1784. Also shrouded in mystery, giant skeletons were found in mounds in Iowa in 1897. Smithsonian mentioned parallel drawn between the mounds and the pyramids in an article. Those mounds were then excavated, the giant bones removed, and taken to Smithsonian Institute for further study, which we've never heard any more reports on those bones found in Iowa. Also, giant skeletons were found in a cave in Idaho in 1910. Those bones were extracted and sent to Smithsonian Institute. We've never heard from that report again. Around 200 giant skeletons were found in a mine in Mexico in 1908. Smithsonian Institute took it. They're gone. Skeletons of a giant Indian were discovered in Nashville, Tennessee in 1923. Smithsonian Institute recovered the bones and will investigate further. A giant skeleton that was 18 foot tall, discovered in Seymour, Texas in 1919. The bones were donated to the Smithsonian Institute. A skeleton of a giant woman who was 7'5", discovered in Lebanon, Oregon in 1908. Watkins will try to interest the State of Archaeological Society in his find. We never heard about it again. The bones of a giant found in St. Paul, Minnesota on May 24th, 1882. It was a skull of a heroic size and singular formation has been discovered among the relics of a mound builders in the Red River Valley. The mound was 60 feet in diameter and 12 feet high. Near the center were found the bones of about a dozen men and women, mixed with the bones of various animals. The skull in question was the only perfect one, and near it were found some abnormally large body bones. The man who bore it was evidently a giant, and through the investigation of the mound and its contents were made by the Historical Society, according to the New York Times, wrote this article in May 25th, 1882. But we never got the contents, was never then made public to the people. Giants, bones in a mound. Scientists unearthed relics of Indians who lived 700 years ago. Special to the New York Times, Birmingham, July 13th, in 1916, Professor A.B. Skinner of the American Indian Museum, Professor W.K. Moorhead of the Phillips Andover Academy, Dr. George Donahue, Pennsylvania State historian, who have been conducting researches along the valley and have uncovered an Indian mound in Tioga Point on the upper portion of the Queen Esther's Flats, on which is known as the Murray Farm, a short distance from Sire, Pennsylvania, which promises rich additions to Indian lore. In the mound uncovered were found the bones of 68 men, which are believed to have been buried 700 years ago. The average height of these men was 7 foot tall, while many were much taller. Further evidence of their gigantic size was found in large celts or axes, hewn from stone and buried in the grave with them. On some of the skulls, 2 inches above the perfectly formed forehead, were protrudences of bones, Members of the expedition say this is the first discovery of its kind on record and a valuable contribution to the history of the early races of America and the world. The skull and few bones found in one grave were sent to the American Indian Museum, according to the New York Times in an article written on July 14th, 1916. We've never heard about those again. Wisconsin mound was opened. Skeleton found of a man over 9 foot tall with an enormous skull. In Maple Creek, Wisconsin on December the 19th, 1897. One of the 3 recently discovered mounds in this town had been opened. In it was found the skeleton of a man of gigantic size. The bones measured from head to foot over 9 foot tall and were in a fair state of preservation. The skull was as large as a half a bushel measure. Some finely tempered rods of copper and other relics were lying near the bones. The mound from which these relics were taken is 10 foot high and 30 feet long. These vary from 6 to 8 feet in width. The 2 mounds of lesser size will be excavated soon, said the New York Times. On December 20th, 1897, we never get another report on what happened to the bones or the other 2 mounds. Only giant I've ever heard of that had fewer teeth than humans and was speculated to be a hybrid. I've seen many reports of giants with double rows of teeth. I find skeletons of giants, said in Idaho, roadmen dig up bones of prehistoric hybrid women in Lewiston, Idaho. On March 16th of 1924, according to the Associated Press, a huge skeleton believed to be that of a prehistoric human being has been discovered in the Salmon River County, south of here, by 2 members of the State Highway Department who have brought their findings to the city. The lower jaw and vertebrae will be sent to the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C. for analysis as to the probable date of existence. The bones were found in the side of a cliff at a depth estimated to be 50 feet. Nearly the entire skeleton was recovered, measuring more than 8 foot tall and possessing numerous strange features. The skeleton has aroused widespread interest. 3 physicians pronounced it to be that of a woman, believed that the person was a hybrid race, and has been expressed owing to the particular formation of the jaws and teeth. Both the upper and lower jaws have only 10 teeth, each and all intact. This was posted by the New York Times in March of 1924. Also, there were found skeletons of giants, skulls twice as large as those of ordinary adults. 2 skeletons, each measuring more than 7 foot tall, were discovered recently in a gravel pit in a forest near Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. The skulls are twice as large as those of an ordinary adult, and the thigh bones, are almost 6 inches longer than those of a 6 foot man. The bones are in good state of preservation. It is a probable skeletons which are thought to be remains of some prehistoric race. They've been sent to Milwaukee for examination. That was the Columbian reported this on September 7th, 1905. Bones of a prehistoric man, skeleton of a giant found in a rude sepulcher in Pine Ridge, California on August 21st, 1897. The discovery of the bones of a giant in a ruddy excavated hole in a limestone rock on the western side of Pine Ridge has aroused considerable interest among local anthropologists. The UN Brigg and Frank Patton, I'm sorry, there was no United Nations then. The UN Brigg and Frank Patton unearthed the remains of what appeared to be a prehistoric man while out hunting on Pine Ridge. It being quite warm, the hunters had sought a shady piece at the base of a tall limestone cliff. They sat for an hour or so enjoying the soft breeze wafted from the valley below. And Briggs, in poking around in a hole in the rock, unearthed several bones. They appeared to be those of a human being. Up Upon closer scrutiny, it was discovered that the cavity in which the bones had been deposited was evidently the work of human hands. The walls had been cut with a sharp-pointed instrument, and the entrance to the tomb or sepulchre had one time been closed up. The hunters examined the tomb closely and found a number of bones of feet and hands of a portion of a skull. The remains will be sent to the Smithsonian Institute. That's what the San Francisco Call reported on August 22nd, 1897. Also, giants were found, the remains of a prehistoric race discovered near Baltimore, Maryland on June 29, 1905. A number of gigantic skeletons of prehistoric Indians, nearly 8 foot tall, are reported to have been discovered along the banks of the Choptank River in the state by employees the Maryland Academy of Science and are now at the Academy's building, where they are being articulated and restored. The collection composes 8 skeletons, of 8 skeletons, of which some of those are women and children. This was according to the Wood County Reporter, July 7th, 1905. Guys, those skeletons are no longer there. Scientists found 5 more giant skeletons in Mexico, according to the Imperial Valley Press, December 13th, 1930. Rains uncovered giant race, according to the Daily Star Mirror, in Moscow, Idaho, on January 26, 1922. Pablo Grande, a house giant lost race. That was the title of an article by the Washington Times in March the 5th, 1925. They were giants. Some remarkable skeletons found in Michigan, according to the Morning Call, February 7th, 1895. In a report in 1789 in Sydney, Australia, of a giant that was captured, article hangs in the state library and was disqualified as fake news by the museum. Giants are so conspiratory, they have been verified even by the New York Times. Well then, what's the prevailing theory as to why the cover-up would take place? What's the motive? What is the reason? Is it because the giant human skeletons very much conflict with the scientifically accepted theory of the Darwinism evolution? They create too many questions and remind people of the Nephilim and stuff found in the Bible. So, guys, I thought this was very interesting. I wanted to share this with you because, 1, 2 articles here and there, you can understand people saying, well, I don't know. But, these are documented. Here's the thing about this. These articles, a lot of them are no longer anywhere in the archive systems of the New York Times. But the New York Times newspapers that were printed, their copies of those newspapers are in libraries, not only the New York Times, but the Associated Press and other publications, as you heard me read, have been and are still out there in the archives of libraries. And you can go into these libraries and start going through the old articles on that slide thing, and all of a sudden people say, whoa, I never heard anything about this, and it's still there. It's in a lot of cases, even the original newspaper is even in the building. Yet some of the news agencies deny or have no record of it ever being printed. Why is there such a cover-up to protect the world from knowing the truth about the Nephilim that were before and after the flood? And the reason I'm bringing this up is because that certainly, if we were to uncover the truth of all these giants that have been on the earth, not just only in Genesis chapter 6, or not just even in the days of King David, little David killing Goliath, or not just in the times of Joshua and the children of Israel taking the land of Israel by basically defeating all these giant tribes. But guys, we've got giants, bones discovered in the 1700s, 1800s, 1900s, and now disappearing off the face of the earth. We don't know where they got them. And what's amazing about all this stuff, and that's why, yes, L.A. Marzulli, Steve Quayle. Some of these guys are the leading. I'm going to say right now, L.A. Marzulli and Steve Quayle, they're the leading experts and the first to really come out. You know, L.A. Marzulli wrote that trilogy on the Nephilim, and he ended up getting a three book deal. That's what put L.A. on the map when he wrote the article, when he wrote these 3 books, and it was published and became a #1 bestseller, all 3 of them. And then he was 3 seasons. He was on Ancient Aliens, I think the first 3 seasons. Ancient Aliens was there. L.A. Marzulli was one of the top experts. And then they said, goodbye, L.A., we don't want to hear your biblical narrative anymore. And then you got Steve Quayle, who was on, you know, Coast to Coast with Art Bell, talking about this stuff, and everybody thinking Steve Quayle was a nut. You know, and here came more and more and more and more evidence. The reason I think that this has been covered up, folks, is simply because they know that that proves the Bible's narrative that there would be giants in the land both before and after the flood, and even at the end of days. We are seeing it. We know that they are genetically manipulating, and I believe it's part of the great disclosure. But the disclosure we're about to be told about the alien disclosure, is not the true narrative. The true narrative is the fallen ones who are still in the interbreeding process to bring back even more Nephilim for the last days. And they can't let this be the narrative. So you get rid of all the bones, and then you say these aliens are from some other planet somewhere, and you don't tie them into the biblical narrative that the giants were the offspring of the fallen angels, and that these aliens are actually the fallen angels or demon entities, demonic entities, the fallen angels, and that the results of that, or the evidence of that, would be the Nephilim before and after the flood. They're trying to stop, because if that is the truth, which I believe it really is, then it means the Antichrist, who comes from this thing, that comes from this DNA manipulation by the fallen ones, by Lucifer himself, that is why the Antichrist will be so deceptive, because people think he has some type of extraterrestrial supernatural capabilities, but because they wouldn't embrace him if they knew he was coming from the fallen angels and the rise of the Nephilim. They would never, ever, ever accept him. They wouldn't want nothing to do with him, because the Bible says this. And that's what I'm saying. We are in the last days. We are in the end times. We are in the final days before the coming of Jesus Christ. And this is why the webinar we're going to do, this webinar is so huge. To get your tickets today, to not miss out on the most powerful webinar. And I'm going to tell you something. Heidi is in the process. She is going to be interviewing in this webinar a lady who is involved with many women, who have been abducted by something, by some type of entities, and are saying that some of them are saying they have been impregnated, and that these women, and the lady who is helping these women, they've created support groups. The woman who is helping them has several that are willing to come on the record and talk. And I've watched this information. I know who this woman is. Heidi is going to be interviewing him. This all is going to come out, guys, in our webinar. And this woman is so legitimate. She is so believable. She is so incredible. And when I listened to her, I started thinking to myself, this is exactly what the Bible said would happen. And I'm telling you, if that's the only thing was on this webinar, was Heidi's interview with her, it would be worth the whole thing. But let's go ahead and throw in L.A. Marzulli, Steve Quayle, Mike from around the world and his intel on this. Even Mike has confirmed it. The last two Thursday nights, I asked Mike after Heidi met this lady, talked to this lady, and she agreed to an interview. I said, whoa, this is huge. I'm going to ask Mike, is there really such a thing? Do you have intel information within the government that there are women who are being impregnated by the fallen ones? Is it happening now? And without hesitation, Mike from around the world said, absolutely, yes. Absolutely. Yes, we know about it. Absolutely. And so I waited another week and I asked him again last Thursday because, my mind was blown. And I asked him again, Mike, be honest. Tell me the truth. Do we have intel on this? Yes, absolutely. We do. No hesitation. He doesn't even hesitate. He just, yes. And then you think back all the years that we've interviewed Mike around the world, we've talked about all kinds of different subjects. And some of the stuff he would tell me, I would just go, what? And I would fall back in my chair and say, this is insane. And then it come to pass. So, guys, we're in the end times, okay? We're in the last days. Get your tickets today. Go right now to my website. Thank you, Miss ED. Thank you, beautiful story. Go right now to my website at paulbegleyprophecy.com. Right now, get your ticket. Be ready for this. It's going to be incredible. August 26th at 6 p.m. Why are we doing it? To prove to you that the Bible is true and that the liars that are out there are trying to deceive the masses with a strong delusion just before the coming of Jesus Christ. They're trying to usher in the Antichrist. Are you serious? Are you serious? What are they digging up out there? Well, they're not going to dig me up because I'm going up. Are you serious? Oh, yeah.
There ain't no grave gonna hold my body down.
Woo.
There ain't no grave
Gonna hold my body down.
when I hear that trumpet sound.
I'm gonna get up out of the ground. There ain't no grave
Gonna hold my body down. Look way down the river. What do you think you see? I see a band of angels and they're
coming after me.
well, there ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. No, there ain't no grave gonna hold my body
Down.
Look down yonder, Gabriel. Put your feet
On the land and sea.
Gabriel, don't blow that trumpet until you hear from me. There ain't no grave gonna
Hold my body down.
No, there ain't no grave gonna
Hold my body down.
Well, meet me,
Jesus, meet me. Meet me in the middle of the air.
and if these wings don't fail me, I'll meet you anywhere. There ain't no grave gonna
Hold my body down.
No, there ain't no
Grave.
gonna hold my body down. Well, meet me, mother and father, down by the river.
River road.
Mama, you know I'll be there. I'm a checking in my load. Well, there ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. No, there ain't no grave
Gonna hold my body down.
Oh, there ain't no grave gonna hold my body down.
I'll be back, guys, with more right here on the coming apocalypse on YouTube. It's going to be a great day in the Lord. Wow! Are you serious? Guys, stay transparent. Whatever you do, stay transparent, okay? Stay transparent. And that's what I'm doing with my shirt today. I'm just staying transparent. Oh, yeah, thank you so much, Beautiful Story, for reminding me that, yes, the classes. Yeah, some folks are signing up last night. I saw people were signing up for classes. The Public School of Prophecy starts our fall semester September 12th. Get signed up now. Go to my website at publiclyprophecy.com. Go to the Public School of Prophecy. Look at all of the classes and choose the one or two or maybe even 3 classes you'd like to take this fall. We got great teachers. Roy Rosser, Ryan Trogler, Shelley Wheeling, Jerry Ewald, Heidi Begley, myself, and man, I'm forgetting. Now I'm in trouble because I'm forgetting. They're all good. That's like in case I'm forgetting. All of them are good. All of it is great stuff. Choose the class. Each class is $150, but that includes all your books and material. Plus you get 12 sessions, which are taught online in private Zooms with just your students that are in that class and the teacher. And you get one-on-one. It's really, really good. And no, we're not worried about people having, like my class, demonology, demon and demonology. I don't give a final exam. It just, you take the class, everybody passes, okay? My goal is to help you learn and to be empowered. Heidi will teach you on Hebrew, okay? If you want to take her Hebraic class, you want to learn about Hebrew. Or you can take Heidi's Old Testament survey class. So she's teaching 2 different classes this semester, okay? Roy Rosser, I believe, is teaching on New Testament survey. Ryan Trogler on Kingdom Men Rising. Shelley Wheeling on Thoroughly Furnished, plus others. They've got more than one class, okay? Wow, there's some really good stuff out there. I'm teaching on Demon and Demonology Part 2. And if you said, oh, I didn't see Part 1, that's okay. Take Part 2, and then next semester you can take Part 1. Because they each deal with separate, they both deal with a different side of demonology. So you want to be involved in this. You get to ask questions. I love it when people do that. I had 43 students last semester in my demonology class, and I love doing the class and love interacting with the students. Really cool. So get signed up today as the classes start September 12th. All you do to register is go there and purchase a class. Get signed up that way, how you do it. And that way your books and stuff will get shipped to you. You'll be ready to go. Okay? So get it done. All right, guys. I'll be back. We got a whole lot more to talk about. I'll be back with more right here on the coming